You're now listening to Anonymous.
What's up, family, and welcome back to the podcast. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you living, hope you doing good, feeling good, all that. Right now, we're just clearing out our minds and continuing the series of just defining our boundaries and clearing our minds. So, again, I have my homegirls and some special things that we're going to add and sprinkle in as we get into intentionality, toxicity, relationships, all the tea. Okay? So, with that being said, I just want to let y'all know that my homegirls in the building. Dun, dun, dun.
Hey, everyone.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. I feel like boundaries are important because it explains your self-worth to yourself. Like when you know what you do and do not stand for, boundaries become easier to say yes, to say no, but you always have to put yourself first. With that being said, going into intentionality and how you treat people, what are some things that you think boundaries like kind of draw a line? Maybe we can get into toxicity early. What do you think?
Well, for me, what boundaries mean to me, just kind of to add what you were saying too, it's knowing the situation in yourself enough to know when something is going against or not really going for what you were expecting or what you are willing to allow and to accept. There's so many times where there's just an invisible line that most people don't know where it is, so they don't know when they're crossing it. So it's like for you, if you make your boundaries known, and regardless if it's a friendship, relationships, or families, like for me, people know not to call me after 10:30. Like that's a boundary that I have. People know not to do certain things with me because I let it be known. It's not like I'm giving them an opportunity to even cross the line, because I'm letting it be known and I'm making it intentional in that period.
Period.
So yeah.
I think the toxicity comes when you have been a people pleaser,
Yeah.
or you have just always been a type of person who always wants the best for people, and counting yourself out. So sometimes boundaries are harder. But I see you got a lot of books. So if you have any books that you need to tell to the people like about boundaries.
Well, there's this book that I read that's literally called Boundaries, and it's by Dr. Henry Cloud and Dr. John Townsend. And it's just like when to say yes, how to say no, and just taking control of your life, and regardless of friendships with yourself, with your family members, with your brothers, your sisters, your co-workers, and even your partners, and just how it kind of understanding how you are in your relationships in those certain categories, and then from there being more intentional in how you react, respond, and receive that information. Because when you know that you are a person who, like you say, is always saying yes, when you come into awareness of that, you're now able to have a new perspective, therefore having a new outcome on the situation. And I've seen people on the other side too, where they're more domineering, and they don't even see how that dominance is affecting their relationships, because that's just how they are too. Like that's them. There's people who are more dominant and people who are more like yes man.
Like a fawn,
yeah, it's like, sometimes people just can't help it, and that's just based off their personalities. And so knowing yourself definitely helps with those boundaries, because when you have a line of like, okay, I don't want this, like I'm not gonna kiss on the first date, that's a boundary that you have. Even in school, like I'm gonna show up to all of my classes, like that's a boundary, because if there's someone who's trying to take you away from that, you say no, like I'm going to all of my classes. So it's like boundaries are they're fluid in category, but they're firm in what you stand for.
Yes. I definitely agree. And I feel like this healing type of energy just like flowing through us. Because the last time we talked, we were talking about being intentional with our family, being intentional with the men that we're dating, being intentional with our friends, whatever that looks like. And I think this is a discussion that we need to have as far as just opening it up for discussion about toxicity.
Yeah.
And now that we have already placed the foundation of the conversation, which is boundaries, knowing yourself, I think that it is beneficial to know what toxicity is going to look like, but also how to move with intentionality.
Yeah, definitely.
So, to be intentional, I said this last week, baby, you don't know what someone is going through. Like, your words do matter. Like, when people would say sticks and stone may break your bones, but words will never matter, that is a lie. Because stuff, especially if you have anxiety, stuff just replays in your mind over and over and over again. Like, I know when I was little, somebody could say something to me. I'm going in, when I get home, first of all, the event is already over. Everything has already occurred. But I'm going to the house. It's probably about 4:30. I'm sitting on the restroom, you know. And I'm like, if I see her tomorrow, I'm going to say this, and she better say this. Because then I'm going to say that, and then I'm going to say that. And then the next day, I'm just waiting for, like, what's up? But the intention was to play get back. Like, you not finna play me.
Yeah.
But, like, why is that? It's almost like this egotistical culture to, like, always seem or feel so strong. But when you're being intentional about everything, you're going to feel your weakest. Because it's not your first thing. It's not your first reaction to be like, I understand what you're going through. And I'm going to be calm. Because you're going to be like, if you say something else to me, I got something for you. And it's not of God. It's going to be quite joyous if I do say myself. But it won't be good for you.
That is so true. That is so true. Wow.
So, yeah.
Yes, like you want to, it's like you say, this subject is really about intentions. And it's like, what were your intentions when that whole situation happened? It's like a part of you just didn't want to say anything, but another part of you, the part that was more comfortable at home, started to come up with all these scenarios and situations with the intent to hurt this girl the same way that she hurt you. And that happens every single day in so many people's relationships. And it's just like, or even in families, like you just like, well, my brother did this, so I'm gonna get him back, or my sister did this, so I'm gonna get them back. But for me, what I've learned is that we are all so like messed up in some ways more than others. But when you can really say, like you said, and it's hard, it's not the first thing you do, but you just think like, okay, let me just kind of see it from another perspective that's not just of my own. And just knowing yourself and stepping into that helps so much. Like, every single time, like every day, just being intentional with getting up, it's just the small things that kind of give you more awareness with that. So just
I just feel like it becomes easier when you are here. Like, bottling up everything makes you feel like the weight is all on your shoulders at one time. But when you're present and you actually can respond instead of react, it's like you have the power in the now.
Yeah.
Because the power in the now is you being able to respond logically. Because as a woman, I know that at times it's like I can snap. Because it's like, okay, well, this and this and this and this and this is happening. And even men, they have their feminine energy as well. when someone is fed up, they're fed up. Not to say that life won't ever have you fed up, but to be fed up all the time, you can't communicate well with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So there is power in just being present where you are.
Yeah.
Where you are, excuse me.
Yeah, exactly. And when I think about intentions are the mental states in which a person can commit themselves to a course of action. Having intentions on communicating with your partner is an example. Being intentional also means being intentionally setting an intention to achieve a specific outcome or a result. The opposite of intentional would be unplanned, unintentional, and purposeless, meaning you had no plan or action steps to actually make a difference. And when I think of this, I'm just always thinking of just so many situations, especially when it comes to communicating with your partner. That's all intentional. Like, you either have the intention to hurt or you have the intention to help.
Mm-hmm.
You have intentions when you set a commitment with them to be intentional in adding value to yourself and to your relationship. And when you don't have intentions, it just means that you don't have a purpose for the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is your purpose of being in a relationship if you are not going to be intentional with your words and with your actions?
Mm-hmm.
But being intentional really begins with awareness. An awareness of ourselves and others and in our circumstances.
For sure, because that's a good place to be. Like, I think that everyone that comes in your life is a mirror. Like, they can either show you who you are or they're showing you who they are, right? And in relationships, if you're not intentional about it, you can end up in a lot of stuff that really wasn't set out for you at all. And I have child, and it's all because you in my business. But it's all because I didn't sit down and really take things slow. I didn't know what I was doing, and he didn't know what he was doing. So the blind leading the blind at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And that was ghetto. That was real ghetto. And that I had to take that. I had to go ahead and get that going. But the way I did it, I don't think I would communicate it well. I just knew that my lines were getting very much crossed, and I retreated back really quick. Like, nope, can't get me. Nope.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I don't know.
Yeah, I may have had different intentions with the relationship.
Very much so. But I'm not going to blame him because he might watch this. But very much toxic. But
Okay. Well, speaking of toxic, what is it like dealing with a toxic relationship?
It's something that looks like love in that you patch it up with excuses.
Mm.
He doesn't necessarily have to give you excuses, but you can give him excuses, and you could just choose to deal with somebody's stuff when you know, like, am I tripping? Like, no, you're not tripping.
Yeah.
But when it becomes unhealthy is when you never talk about it, the lies or the dishonesty continues, the disrespect, the blatant disrespect. Because for me, a man wants to be respected more than he wants to be loved. Because if I lose respect for you, and this is with woman, man, and child. If I lose respect for you, that's worse than, because I'm still gonna be like, I hope you're alive. You know, that's love to me. Like, I'm check for you, see if you're alive. But respecting wise, it's almost like being in a prison. Like, okay, the inmates, they breathing, they alive, But you a pedophile, you done kill people. I done lost all respect for you. I'm glad you're here though.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, defining toxicity can go a lot of ways, but it is very unhealthy because it counts you out most of the time. Like it's probably 70-30 or 60-40 all the time. But when you go into a relationship, it's not 50-50. A person should be 100% and you should be 100%, and y'all come together and try to make something out of y'all whole selves.
Yeah.
Because if you trying to be saved by a man, or if you trying to save a woman, it's not going to, I don't want to say it's not going to work, but it's not going to flow.
Yeah.
Anything that doesn't flow to me is toxic. Because if I have to have a Jezebel spirit, if I have to show a little cleavage to get your attention, no. Why? Why can't you acknowledge me as a young lady with a brain and help you build whatever you're building? But he has to have a purpose, baby. That's toxic number one. You just on earth for nothing. You don't know what you here for. You just waking up every day smoking, not going to class, baby. You not going to class, but you waking up every day. You sitting on my couch eating my fruit snacks. I like fruit snacks. We not doing that. So that's toxic number one. Don't get me started. What do you think? Because I can go down the road.
I was going to ask you about your, like, what are some red flags? Because I paint red flags green.
Okay. Girl, let us play. What's that game? When Squid Game. Green. Red.
Right. No, but I think for me, definitely signs of a toxic person is when they don't respect you or they disrespect you in your boundaries. And they always need something from you in a way that is like you say, is 60-40 or it's 20-80. It's like the relationship benefits them and you don't benefit at all. Not to say that all relationships are supposed to be that way, but ones that are healthy, they usually are.
Because you care. It's like you can always see. Well, I can. It's almost like when someone's genuine, you kind of can figure that out.
Yeah.
Because like some people do not have to do some of the stuff they do. Like if I tell you good morning and I'm walking down the stairs, like I didn't have to fix my lips to say that. I promise you I couldn't. I could have walked in here and just looked at you. I didn't have to say that. That's just an example. I'm not that petty, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. I feel you. Yeah, it's just like, again, that relationship is just like, it doesn't have to be there if no one's really trying or attempting for it to be. Another one is when they don't take accountability. I feel like this is the main issue that I've had in the past with relationships is people not taking accountability. Like, why is it so hard to humble thyself? Enough to admit that you were wrong or admit that you were at fault or that there's a fault line in anything, like for me, I know when I'm in the wrong and I'll speak on that and just say, you know what, I was wrong for how I responded or how I reacted to that situation. And that's a good character trait to have. Another one is when they recognize your struggle. Like when you tell a person, like, so this happened with my mom or this happened with my dad or my sister, and they use it to turn around and say, well, they don't love you. I love you. But you don't even... Yeah, that's
almost... what come to mind is manipulation. Manipulation. But it's also giving abusive, like emotional abuse
and manipulation
for sure. And that's something that can go both ways. A lot of women can abuse men emotionally
Yeah.
and mentally with just our words. And because like I can look at you like you have boo-boo on your shirt, and I don't have to say nothing to you, but you know to not say nothing to me just by a face and me knowing you. And men don't necessarily speak, but they would hit you to show you. And I think that domestic violence is always thought about as physical, but it can be mental and emotional. And that's within the family as well. And sometimes, like I said, you are a mirror. Sometimes you get so used to that and you think like, this is normal. But when you step outside of the box that people have put you in, you see that this is not what everyone does. This is not considered normal. So, being intentional, I think you also need accountability.
Yeah.
You need to be real with yourself and then go to your, I'm going to call it a designated hitter. Like, you know this person, sometimes it's not your friend, but you know this person is solid. Like, so, and they going to keep you on track. Don't come to them with no mess. This is your accountability partner for sure. And that's your designated hitter, because they don't care if they got to drag you out the club. They don't care how they look. They just know you said what you said on right here that you didn't want to do this anymore, and why are you here?
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to do that.
Exactly.
So, I think accountability is extremely important in your journey as far as being intentional with other people and being intentional with yourself and your mental health.
Yeah.
So I think it's time that we get us some calling orders to just see how we feeling and give other perspectives about the same thing. You want to start with the man or woman?
Well, let's just see who's the first caller number up.
Okay, so we have our first caller.
Hello, my name is Ezekiel.
Hey, Ezekiel.
How you doing?
Okay, so the question we're going to be asking is, going through your friendships and your relationships, what does accountability look like? Are they the same in your friendships and in your close relationships, or are they different? Why are these important, and how have you used them in your life?
I feel like they are important because you do need accountability to just be able to know that you probably is in the wrong for things, or you're probably, like you messed up in some ways, and it don't even got to be in like necessarily like in a negative way, just as accountability, as in like taking like you should have did something differently, or you could have went about it a different way. For in the relationship wise, I feel like you probably do gotta. Well, let me say it like this. In a relationship, I feel like accountability is more as in if you know you're probably your partner slacking on some things and probably like missing some things, probably pick them up and show them like a different, and that could be just by seeing like if you don't do it, the relationship probably gonna go in. So that's probably accountability right there. Like they're just showing, like a different type of. I don't know how I should say. I'm sorry right now.
It's okay.
Like they probably not wrong. It's a different, So I feel like you probably do need a lot in your life, and it is strong to have it.
For sure. So, I don't even remember what he said, but I think
He just was saying, you can keep yourself accountable, but there's also helping your partner be accountable too. Like sometimes, that, like you said, having an accountability partner, that's kind of what your partner is in your relationship. Like, babe, didn't you say you was gonna go to the gym today?
Yeah.
Didn't you say when we was gonna go to
Hold
the
on.
store, you wasn't gonna pick up
Hold
nothing?
on, look. But isn't it, going back to like responding instead of reacting?
Yeah.
You calling me fat? because you know Tyrone and Cleophas, we've been trying to get there. The whole time we stopped going because that treadmill was a little treading too hard for me.
The treadmill was treadmill.
But let's just get into the second call.
Yeah, okay, that's perfect.
Hi. So,
We have on air.
we have you on air, excuse me. I hope I have your consent because you're going on YouTube. So, what is the power of accountability inside of friendships?
The power of accountability inside of friendship. I think it's
Yes, I can hear you now. See? Accountability. I need it to be clear.
okay. So accountability among friendships, I feel is a great asset because you encourage each other. You make sure that everyone does what they're supposed to be doing. So I believe that is great to have that accountability. That we think need to rethink our friendship because that's what friends do. They hold each other accountable.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. So, yeah. So, I just want to give a lot of perspectives on defining boundaries, knowing what toxicity looks like, and honestly, just becoming better people.
Yeah. How being intentional with yourself and in your relationships makes a big difference. Just writing it down, thinking about it, asking yourself, how are you in your relationships? Like the golden rule, are you treating people the way that you would want to be treated?
Say
And
that.
if there's something going on in your relationships, take a look at yourself. Michael Jackson gave the best advice of all time. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make that change.
And with that being said, we'll chit chat with you later.